Alright, we're back again for Chapter 3 of WoW model editing, WoW modding, whatever you want to call it, using Noggit and many other programs. In the last tutorial, Chapter 1, or Chapter 2, yeah, I guess it'd be Chapter 2, we filled Client 335A Noggit and Client 335A test. Now, like I said before, the reason we did this was so that we wouldn't have any conflicts. Noggit is very picky. If a file is in use, if you have World of Warcraft running, it won't open. It'll just open and close, and that's it. So let's test and see if we did this right. We'll go into Tools, and we'll go into Noggit. It's right here. All we should have to do to see if it's going to work is just double-click Noggit.exe. When we copied everything over from the drive letter folder and copied config files, and there we go. It's up, it's running, it's working. Great. We'll leave that up and running because WoW model viewer right here will not come up if the files are in use. Noggit has all the files in use. As you can see, it's loaded all the content, continents, dungeons, raids, whatnot. But we'll get more into that later. Let's go check out WoW model viewer and see if it works. Just double click the pretty blood elf. Man, I don't really like blood elves, but that's okay. To each his own, I suppose. This is currently in German, I guess. So Uber will let you change the language to English. Click OK. You have to restart it, so close it. Takes a second. Reopen it. Boom, in English. Now, to test this, make sure it's working, make sure it's grabbing the files. Let's go into Creature and Air Elemental, and we'll bring him up. Look at him, isn't he pretty? This is a really cool program. Whoever made this, let's see. These people, right here. All these people. Awesome people. Props to you guys. Alright, now that we got this, we've tested it, we can close these, we don't need them open anymore. And we have to do the hardest, longest, most annoying part. We got to put something in here. It says client files. We need to extract every single MPQ. All of them. The ones in the data folder and a few of the ones here in our enUS or enGB or whatever language you happen to be doing this in. So they have to be done in a specific order. You need the newer files to overwrite the older files. So the program we'll be using is MPQ Edit 3.2 if I'm remembering correctly off the top of my head. But there's supposed to be an order, and I will show you the order. I will use some text editing and throw some text up there for the order. But basically, they're in the order you see them. Common, Common 2, Expansion, Lichking, Patch, and so on. But you can't just double click them because Windows has no clue. So, this is where we go back into the WoW modding folder, into Tools, and we find MPQ Edit 3.2. Now, the first time you run this program, it may ask you to set up default locations for client files and project files and whatnot. If it does, tell it to go here, into your client files. Your drive letter, WoW modding client files. Very important. So let's run it. Mine won't ask because I had to make sure all this worked before I made the video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open a file. Now you see backup drive app, which I chose drive app. Your letter may be different. And we're going to use the client 33A Noggit folder and data. First one we're going to use is common.MPQ. As you can see, it's almost 3 gigabytes. It'll load quick. 83,000 files, I think it said. But we need to get all these files, all these wonderful files. As you can see, just the female blood elf has so many different files and textures. We'll get into those later. Maybe if I have time. We need to get all these files into here. What we need to do is we need to right click on common. Click extract. Now if you set up your directory structure, as I stated before, to that folder, it'll already be ready to go. The only thing you have to make sure of is right here. Delete local file and continue extracting. Once you do that, click it and it'll start going. As you can see, files are already coming in. Now you will not see images like I see them. I have a neat little program called BLP View, which actually may be in the tools. Let's find out. Right there. If you run this file, you'll be able to see them too. Isn't that wonderful? That's under Tools, BLP Shell Extension. You cannot double click and open and view in Adobe Photoshop or anything. For that, you would have to convert. We will deal with that later. Back to the client files. It's filling it up. It's going to take a while. I'll be back in a moment. Well, here we are extracting these files. Wonderful files. They take forever. Just thought you guys might want to know that this is very time consuming, but very important. You must extract these files. I'm going to let you watch this. I'm going to edit this video a little bit and write down the order in which you must extract the files. Unfortunately, your best bet is to go through both directories, the client Noggit and the other client folder, which I guess would be client test, or full out client 335A Noggit, client 335A test.